This machine is going to take 2.5 times longer to dry the equivalent amount of clothing in those two machines. The motor, the bearings on the machine are going to wear out quicker for the amount of clothing that you're drying. The biggest killer on these machines is dust, and this is a machine that was 5 years old. When it comes to the equivalent fault on a heat pump dryer, you are talking about needing specialist equipment to replace the compressor or regas the machine. Hi, welcome to How to Repair. Heat pump tumble dryers, are they really all as good as they say they are? I'm not too sure about that. Vented and condensing tumble dryers this year will start to be phased out in the UK and European Union due to the fact that they use a lot more energy than heat pump tumble dryers. But are they really worth it? In my honest opinion, the governing bodies have fallen into their own trap of being greenwashed by the appliance manufacturers. First, you need to understand I'm a firm believer in heat pump technology. My whole workshop here is heated by air heat source system, and this is supplied by solar electricity. You might also be asking, who the hell am I to make this statement? Well, I've been in the industry over 40 years, and some of the first machines that I ever worked on were Hotpoint and Hoover twin tubs that had electrical ringers on them, or spinners. Then I started working on vented dryers, condenser dryers, and now I'm having to work on heat pump tumble dryers. I am really a firm believer in heat pump technology, but the problem being is when it's used in a tumble drying system, the problems that occur on the long term are not beneficial to you, the consumer, or the environment. Okay, to understand the energy consumption of these dryers, I've got these three machines connected to ampage meters, so we can actually see how much power is being drawn. I will also bring some diagrams up on the screen for you to show you how long they took to dry a certain amount of clothing. And this will have the energy consumption that each machine uses over an hour or a full load of clothing. Now, I'm going to turn the heat pump tumble dryer on, and this uses a lot less electricity while it's running than the other two machines. And I'm just quickly going to set that to a 40-minute cycle and press start. Initially, you will only see the motor cutting in, and this is drawing approximately 200 watts of power. The compressor will take about a minute or 2 minutes to actually cut in, and we'll come back to that in a second. The condensing tumble dryer recirculates the air in the machine. Although it has a 2.4 kilowatt heating element, it will use slightly less electricity than the vented dryer, which expels that warm air out of the machine straight away. The condenser recirculates the air and condenses the moisture in the air via the collection box at the bottom. And we'll turn that across to a 30-minute cycle and press start. And initially you saw the motor cut in, now the heater has cut in, and we're drawing just over 2.5 kilowatts of power. The vented tumble dryer, I will just turn on to a standard heating program and press start on this one. And we will see on the screen that the machine starts and you've got 170 watts of power, then the heater kicks in and we're drawing just over 2 kilowatts of power. Now, if these machines ran for approximately an hour, these two machines would be very similar in the usage of electricity. I would anticipate they would use somewhere in the region of 1.8 to 2 kilowatt hours of electrical consumption. Believe it or not, the condensing dryer, although it's got a larger heater, may use slightly less electricity than the vented dryer, which is what you would expect, because the vented dryer is expelling the air straight out of the machine. Now, the heat pump tumble dryer, the compressor now has come on, and it's drawing 426 watts of power. So that's a quarter of what those machines are drawing. But this machine is going to take 2.5 times longer to dry the equivalent amount of clothing in those two machines. Now that you understand how much energy each machine uses, and you must remember the variations for the condensing tumble dryer and the heat pump tumble dryer do depend on room temperature, because the consumption of energy used will differ with room temperature. The vented dryer doesn't really make any difference because it's heating and venting that air straight out. The condensing dryer has to collect the water in the warm, moist air to create a condensing process. And if room temperatures are very high or very low, the energy consumption will vary drastically. exactly the same as the heat pump tumble dryer. Now that we know that the vented tumble dryer and the condensing tumble dryer dries 2.5 times quicker than the heat pump tumble dryer, I can now explain to you why I think the heat pump tumble dryer is not as beneficial as you think it might be. My first argument with regards to the benefits of heat pump tumble dryer is the wear and tear on the average components. Each of these machines have similar motors, similar bearing systems and other components in the machine that get wear and tear over a period of time. If we consider that we actually do 250 loads of clothing per year, these two machines would be using approximately 300 hours of runtime to dry the clothing. This machine would be using in excess of 750 hours of runtime. This means the motor, the bearings on the machine are going to wear out quicker for the amount of clothing that you're drying. My second argument is when it comes to repairability. Let's say 5 years have passed and the machine needs a new heating system. A heating system for a vented tumble dryer is going to cost you somewhere in the region of £30 to £40. You might be lucky enough to be able to repair it yourself. Even if you had to call an engineer, he is only going to charge you somewhere in the region of just over £100 to replace the component and do it for you. When it comes to the equivalent fault on a heat pump dryer, you are talking about needing specialist equipment to replace the compressor or regas the machine. On both of these occasions, the average DIYer is unable to do the job, so he has to call an engineer. An engineer is going to spend 2 to 2.5 hours of his time replacing a compressor in the unit or regassing the system, and it is going to cost you in excess of £300 if you are lucky enough to find any engineer that is willing to take on the job, because I can promise you a lot of good technicians would not advise you to replace the compressor or to replace the gas in the system, because he has to find out where the leak is coming from, and therefore it just makes it uneconomical to repair, and he is going to tell you to go and buy a new machine. Number 3. My next argument is towards general maintenance of the machine that should be done every couple of years. We all clean out the filters which are inside the door, but on occasions you have to clear out the ducting pipe on the vented tumble dryer and maybe even do a bit of hoovering inside the machine to clear the vents. When it comes to the condensing tumble dryer, again, it's an easy process to clean the filter system out and also remove the actual condenser box to clean the condenser box so it works efficiently. These are all easy jobs which any person in the household is capable of doing. But when it comes to the heat pump tumble dryer, the biggest killer on these machines is dust. And this is a machine that was 5 years old. Now the evaporator and the condenser are stuffed up with fluff, and it takes approximately 2 hours to remove the drum, the front panel and the back panel to gain access into this system, which is badly designed in the first place because the whole machine has to be stripped to be able to clean this system. Number 4 is one of the most logical things when you think of it. I'm not a fashionable person, so I don't have expensive clothes. But you all know how much fluff comes out of these filters. Just imagine how much wear and tear on your clothing is taking place when a machine takes 2.5 times longer to dry the clothes. Number 5, and my last argument with regards to the benefits of a heat pump tumble dryer, is with regards to the cost to you, the consumer, and also the environment. And I would like to see you put comments in on this video, because I would love to know your opinion on what I have said and the understanding that you have now towards vented, condenser and heat pump tumble dryers, so that the governing bodies may be able to read it and do something about the legislation that they are putting in place. Now, the first thing we need to do is the mathematics, of course, to see if it's viable for you to own a heat pump tumble dryer. And yes, they are very beneficial when it comes to the energy that they use compared to condenser and vented tumble dryers. But we need to do some mathematics and look at this slightly differently. A vented tumble dryer, as of today, when I'm filming, is approximately £200. You can pick up a reasonable condenser tumble dryer between £200 and £300. And the entry level on a heat pump tumble dryer is approximately £400. Now, if you had one of these machines compared to a heat pump tumble dryer, The heat pump tumble dryer after 2 years is saving you money in your pocket. You're going to be using a lot less energy and therefore saving money every time you use the machine. But if the heat pump tumble dryer fails after 5 years and it is a catastrophic problem like the compressor, or you've lost gas, or even just the evaporator or condenser is totally blocked, as in the machine I showed you earlier, it is a complete teardown of the machine, and most people are not able to do this because they are highly complicated to gain access into the systems because of the poor design, whereby a condenser or vented tumble dryer is affordable to repair. And lastly, let's just discuss the environmental impact. When it comes to the end of life on a vented or condenser tumble dryer, these machines can quite easily be disposed of. When it comes to the heat pump tumble dryer, you must remember this is a refrigeration unit, and you have all read the articles in the newspaper and seen it on the news, the problems that they're having disposing of refrigeration units. My conclusion on all this is the governing bodies have been greenwashed by the manufacturers into thinking that the energy efficiency ratings on these machines is the most important factor, when they're not. These new types of dryer are actually working in the favour of the manufacturers by guaranteeing built-in obsolescence on the appliance, therefore making sure that they sell machines more regularly to you, the consumer. I hope you found all the information helpful and useful, and please leave any comments that you have on the video in the description below. I don't make many friends in this appliance industry anymore because I'm starting to become very vocal with regards what I think of the industry. I think there is too much emphasis on consumption and making you purchase appliances every 5 years, where we all have the right to repair things. Thank you very much indeed for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as that's what keeps us going and able to make these videos for you.